In today's world, we as parents are so busy. We're either on a phone, in front of a computer, cooking, working, running carpool, etc. We don't realize, I don't think, how busy we are until we crash at night and we go to sleep. What we're asking parents to do is actually become a little bit more aware of how available we really are to our kids. We talk to the kids about, okay, here's the schedule and this is what we're having for dinner and when are we picking up so-and-so and all the rudimentary things. But we need to get one level deeper, or maybe even two levels deeper, and actually talk to them about life choices and be active parents and really be teaching them skills along the way of all the craziness of what is our daily lives.
I think parents are thinking, and in not a wrong way, but just they're assuming that their children know that they can come to them. But children, what we're finding with our research and with our teaching is that children don't always know that. We do an exercise called Circle of Safe Adults with children, where they literally pick 3 trusted adults that they could go to if they had any kind of problem. They draw them, they label them. Their homework is to go home and share it with their parents. Quite often, we notice that children don't pick their parents. And then I talk to them, why aren't your parents in there? They're too busy for me. Really interesting. I'm sure that girl's parents do not know that she feels that way. And that's why it's so crucial for her to go home and have a conversation so they can notice, Mom and Dad aren't in that picture. You can come to me. We're here for you.
And we recommend to the parents in the time that we speak to them at the seminar that they literally, cut out 10 minutes of a day and do it in a traditional way so that it's every night, maybe before the kids go to sleep or while they're preparing dinner, they sit with the parent while they're in the kitchen, whatever it is, so that child knows that's a good time to talk. I have my grown-ups' attention at that time. And if it's built in, it becomes such a comfortable, I'll look forward to that. Go over the day. And don't just say, how was your day? Say, what was something great that happened today? What was something that wasn't so good that happened today? And open it up. Then all of a sudden they can think about some other things that they would tell you. And if you start that at a very young age, by the time they hit middle school, when they are maybe perhaps distancing themselves, when really you really need to be more of an active listener in middle school, you'll still have that open communication.
And also, I just want to say one more thing about active listening. It's not just listening to your child, it's actually repeating back to your child what they said to make sure you got it. Because quite often, children will tell us things, and we assume they meant something, and we may repeat it back to them, and they say, no, Mom, you didn't get it at all. And it's a great time to really understand what they mean and to show them that you care about what they're saying. Most children report that they do not tell their parents things because they think their parents are going to A, overreact, or B, take away their electronics.
Or get angry.
So most kids don't tell. But imagine if a parent tells a child, they're communicating with them, that you can tell me anything. Report to me about anything that you feel, and I promise you I will not overreact. I will try to help you with it. A child can feel much more comfortable coming to that parent rather than a parent who completely overreacts and shuts that child down.
And some of us do that naturally. It's just our personalities. It's almost, we're asking parents to kind of get in touch with their responses, which is a little hard. We have to do a little soul searching. And I've absolutely changed how I probably would have parented if I didn't go into Kidsafe and become this type of, advocate for kids. It's really being conscious of how we speak to our kids.
There was a child who went to a teacher and said, my daddy wants to touch my cookie. And the teacher said, okay, great, go let your daddy touch your cookie. Like, leave me alone, I'm trying to work. Then the child came back another day and said, but Miss Smith, my daddy wants to eat my cookie. Okay, let your daddy eat your cookie.
It's nice to share.
Can you imagine if the same child had gone to the teacher and said to the teacher, my daddy wants to touch my vagina? The teacher would have known immediately something is not right. So teach your children, as simple as just using proper names, it can help a child stay safe or help a child who is being harmed? Well, first and foremost, I think we let them know that 95% of abuse and exploitation of children is preventable with education. So we're engaging them. They're starting to realize, you know what, if I talk to my child, I can help my child be safe. So the first thing we really teach them is start talking to your child in a very natural way, starting from as young as they're speaking, and talk about their bodies with them. And a lot of parents, it's uncomfortable for them. You know, they get very uncomfortable. In our presentation, we say an elbow is an elbow, a penis is a penis. If you're uncomfortable saying it, get in front of a mirror, say it 100 times until it loses all its discomfort. Because if you're uncomfortable with talking about just natural part of your body, your children are subliminally getting that message that that's uncomfortable. And God forbid something happened to them, you want them to be able to be comfortable coming to you to tell them about it.
Right. We're passing along the issues and idiosyncrasies, and very often, sometimes due to religious issues, we're passing that along to our children, but we might really want to take a step back and think about, well, what is the long-term impact? What do I really want to teach my child from a very young age? So we actually have to be active parents and take a few moments to talk with our spouse and think about, well, what message do we want to send our children from a very young age? So the message that we say to parents to send is, your body is special and it belongs to you. And that's very exciting. It's a good thing. What does that mean? That means that we have to put sunscreen on so you don't get sunburn. We have to take care of your body. That means you get, when you're a little bit older and you're 4 and 5 years old, you get to learn how to wash yourself in the bathtub because you're gaining independence and you're growing up. And little by little, that's how we do it, slowly over time. It's not rushing in there and saying, oh my goodness, nobody should touch your private parts. It's really just a natural part of our parenting. And we talk to the children and the parents that it's never a child's fault. This is a strong, important message to send to children. It's never a fault it's never your fault if you get a touch that's inappropriate. It's always the adult's fault. But that's a very hard thing to talk about. So we really encourage parents to actually say that to their children.
And what's really sad is, and I try to stress in our lectures, is believing the children. Because the way that a parent would respond to a child coming to them to disclose can make a child feel powerful or make a child feel powerless. So oftentimes children are not believed.
And that's disclosure about anything. That could be about physical abuse, sexual abuse, bullying, cyberbullying. When we're talking to those parents about being active parents, we want them to have a certain type of response, because whatever they respond in whatever way is the beginning of the healing process for that child. So either you're going to close that communication by saying, Uncle Joe would never do that, or stick up for yourself on the bus stop. Okay, you've just closed communication. But if you have a response that sounds like, oh, I'm really glad you told me. Tell me what's going on. Then you have opened the door. And that's when we talk about keeping that poker face and not having that emotional, trying to really contain your emotional response, even though you're obviously upset.
Children have a sense of intuition, but it's not developed. But adults, our parents, we have our intuitions developed. But quite often we suppress our instincts because we don't want to think the worst in anybody. So we believe wholeheartedly that parents need to trust their instinct. You have that little feeling, you drop your kid off at a play date, you're driving away, and you start feeling something not right, don't just drive away. Go back. Go back. Listen to your instincts. Always err on the side of protecting your child. Don't err on the side of protecting a person who may be doing harm to your child.
Don't worry about insulting someone. So for example, you get a call, your child's maybe in 2nd grade, and someone calls up that you don't know, but it's a new friend to your child in a classroom, and they say, hey, we're having a sleepover, we would like your child to come and sleep over. You don't have to say yes. If you don't know that person, listen to your intuition. You don't send your child into a stranger's home. It's just not a practical thing to do. Get to know them, invite them over, have a barbecue, I don't know. Get to know them, share a play date together. But think about what you're doing. Think about how much interviewing you go through before you hire someone to work in an office. but you send your child to a stranger's house for a sleepover?
And also, don't be afraid to even ask people that you are friends with certain questions if your child's going to that house. Are there going to be older kids there? Who supervises everything? Do you have a gun in your house? Where do you keep it? All of these things are appropriate questions to ask, but yet many parents feel very uncomfortable asking those questions.
And many of us do some of these things naturally. It's now we're trying to raise everybody's awareness.
Raise
about
the
it.
bar about it, because these things are preventable. I mean, we even talk about when we're teaching at school that there's the carpool line at school when dismissal starts, and the kids are all standing out there, and one of your friend's moms pulls up and says, "Hey, I'm supposed to take you home," and the kid just jumps in the car and goes. Now we don't know where the kid is. But if the same child had just turned around and checked first with the teacher, am I supposed to go home with them? Well, nobody called, no one said. Oh, then let me go call and see, instead of having a 3-hour panic about where this child is.
The scenario is the mom now drives up, her kid's not there, and the protocol is that child is missing. The police will be called, you know, it can be, and talk about money, you know, from taxpayers' money. Now, it happened by accident. It could have been preventable by just simply checking first.
And the same thing, trying to prevent abuse. If a relative, somebody wants to take you somewhere or wants to, you know, do something, can you come with me here? Now you're going to check first with your parent. Now your parent's aware that that adult wants to take you somewhere. It may put your antenna up. And so if we have children that are constantly checking first, it just is a safety measure for them.